Good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy Friday. We made it to Friday, so hope that you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good this morning. It's a little bit cold out in my part of the world. I assume it's the same for most of you in the northern hemisphere. But either way, I hope that you and your family are safe, that you're having a good day, that you're ready for the weekend, for whatever the weekend may bring. But really glad to have you here. Really looking forward to spending some more time talking with each other about data science and continue building this community that we have here. So for those of you that are new, that are maybe joining us for the first time, or you haven't really participated, welcome. We start off with what's known as our global roll call, where we ask people to introduce themselves. Please let us know your city, state, province, country. Just let us know where you're from. It's a nice way to keep the chat professional and allow you to practice introducing yourself and kind of, just conducting yourself in that professional way. That's, very helpful for the long term. After that, I sometimes give an opening note where I give you some just general thoughts that I'm thinking about, different things in my mind. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. It just depends. And then after that, I'm happy to answer your questions with anything that you'd like. If there's something that's on your mind or something that you need help with, or a career question or whatnot, let us know. Happy to help you as much as I can. So go ahead and start filling up my chat with any of those introductions that you'd like to do. I'm just going to add one quick reminder for the introduction in my Instagram. And then I want to give just some general opening thoughts. All right, so I'm already starting to see some great introductions in my chat. Yeah, great. We'll start filling up my chat with those introductions, and we'll get to them very quickly. But on my end, everything is going very well. Yesterday, after I finished the stream, I went for a very, very long walk. I walked for more than 7 miles yesterday, which is like 12 kilometers or something like that. Had a really good, really beautiful weather out there. Just felt really good. A little tired. My feet are a little tired this morning. My legs are a little weird still. But I meant to check my Apple Health Analytics, because I think I might have set a new record for a new all-time record for single steps in a day. That would be a pretty cool record, right? So if you guys want to tell me what your step record per day is, I'd be interested. But I think I might have gotten about 20,000 steps yesterday. So, which for me is a lot. I work at home, so I work at my desk a lot. So, my step count ain't that great. So, I'm doing much better on that. And then afterwards, I went out with a friend last night. I live in Las Vegas. A lot of people come through as tourists. So I went out with my friends. We had some good pizza. I posted the pizza to my Instagram, because I think some of you in the chat know what I'm referring to. And then went and hung out at one of the local casinos there. Had a good time. People ask me, like, when you're in Las Vegas, do you go to casinos all the time? Do you gamble all the time? And I really don't. I really just go when friends are in town or whatnot. So we played some of the casino games. We played some craps yesterday. That'll be the only thing I'll do for the next 6 months or a year or whatever, until the next person comes. But had a really good evening yesterday. So I just wanted to share that with you, because it was a really nice evening to spend time with friends and have a little bit of different food than I usually do. But today it's back to keto. You gotta go back and be strict, get back on your exercise plan, right? So that's the plan for today. All right, so I'm already seeing some introductions. Thank you so much. Again, if you're just joining us, please let us know city, state, country, province, and happy to answer your questions or help you after that. Gosh, I'm still seeing a couple of Instagram messages that are not appearing in my chat. That's super annoying. Give me just a second here, guys. I'm still trying to resolve that. All right, so I'm seeing a message from Shilpati that's not appearing in my chat. So Shilpati, let me come back to your message, okay? So Osama, good morning, Osama. How are you? Our good friend from Morocco says, hello, sir. Happy Friday. I hope everything is going well. Everything's going real well. You know, my feet hurt a little bit after walking 7 miles. But yeah, everything is going real well. Hope the same for you, Osama. Manoj, our good friend from India, says, good morning, Sir Dennis and everyone. Manoj from Bangalore, India. Hope you're doing well, Manoj. How are you? Hope everything is well with you. Denelson, our good friend from LA, says, a very good morning, Dennis. Anyone excited for the weekend? Yeah, good question, Denelson. Let us know if you're excited for the weekend. Let us know in the chat if you have anything interesting coming up. Today, I'm going to be indoors a lot. I have a lot of client work to do today. And then I'm going to do my streams over the weekend. And then on Monday, I am going to go to LA. I'm going to hang out with my parents for the week. It's my dad's birthday. So gonna take them out to dinner a couple times, and you know, gonna spend a nice holiday week in LA, which is actually out near you, Dendelson. So yeah, I'm gonna be out there. Okay, cool. Over on Instagram, thank you so much for introducing yourself. I'm Abay from India. Morning. Yeah, good morning to you too. Hope you're doing well. Let us know what part of India you're from if you'd like. But thanks for joining us. I know it's your first time. Anything we can help you with, any questions, just let us know. But I'm glad you're here. Rex, my most trusted moderator, Rex, says, good morning, everyone. How are you, Rex? Hope you're doing well, my friend. How's things in New York today? Let us know. But good to see you here, Rex. Sarvesh, our good friend Sarvesh says, good morning to you, Dennis. Sarvesh, nice to see you. I really appreciate my long-term viewers like you, Sarvesh. I hope you're doing well. Hope you and your family are doing well. Noor, you're back. How are you? I get so encouraged when I see people coming back. So Noor, I hope you're doing well. Congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. Yeah, thank you. It was a big moment 2 days ago. I think I'm gonna post. I might post this later, but I actually just received the initial email. Or initial message that said that my silver play button is now under review because so when you cross 100,000, there's this 10-day period where they review your channel, just to make sure you're not spamming or you got fake viewers or whatever, right? Fake watch time, all that. So they review your channel. And then you get to, tell them your address and where you want them to ship the award to. So kind of exciting to at least get that first message to say, hey, we see you. We know you crossed it. So I'm under review. They say it's going to take 10 days, which I think is faster because, you go through other reviews as you grow. So I think it'll be faster than that. But I finally did get that first message that says, it's in processing, right? So that was encouraging. And when that time does come, I am going to have a live stream to unbox the award. So that'll be kind of cool. But yeah, Noor, thanks so much for your good wishes. Hope that you're doing well out there. Noor, I think you're in Saudi Arabia, I believe. So hope you're doing well out there in Saudi Arabia. Sijin. It looks like you go by Nahida. Nahida from UAE. Nice. Welcome, Nahida. How are you? Hope you're well. I know it's your first time joining, so thank you so much. What part of the UAE? Let us know if you're comfortable. MA39, good morning from Morocco. Nice. Welcome. It's good to see the Kick engagement. I get such weird engagement on Kick, I have nearly the same number of subscribers on Kick as I do on Twitch, but they rarely participate. Or I get spam messages. Kick gets a lot of spam messages. But glad you're here. Let us know what part of Morocco you're from or anything else you'd like to share. But thanks so much for joining. Lulman says, hey, Dennis, hope you have a good day. Lulman, our friend from Nepal, right? Yeah, Lulman's from Nepal. Glad you're here, Lulman. Hope you have a good day. Yeah, I think I am going to have a good day. Hope you have a good day too, Lulman. I have a client career consultation later today. I have a couple of other things I need to get out, as far as documents to clients and things like that. But yeah, I'm going to be indoors, but I think it is going to be a good day. So hope the same for you too, Lalman. Shilpati, I know you mentioned a couple of, I know you had a couple of messages, but Shilpati says that they are your acquaintance from Winnipeg. Okay. Well, glad you're here. I don't know anybody from Winnipeg. I've spent plenty of time in Winnipeg. I practically lived there for about 6 months. But glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. If there's anything we can help you with, any career questions or whatnot, let us know. I think you mentioned Fabric event is going to be hosted in Vegas. Like you mean like an actual like textiles and fabrics? Because there's all kinds of trade shows and conventions that come through Vegas. Speaking of which, the biggest one in the world really is the Consumer Electronics Expo, or Consumer Electronics Show. That's coming up in January, and I'm going to be doing a lot of content around that, so I'm really excited about what that's going to look like. But yeah, lots of trade shows come through Vegas, and that's kind of why I like living here, because so many people come through here. It's inevitable that friends come, through Las Vegas. But glad you're here, Shilpati. I think it's your first time participating. Glad you're here. Anything we can help you with, let us know. So Rex says things are well in New York City, a bit chilly, but that doesn't stop us. No, of course not, Rex. Of course not. You can't not like the cold and live in New York City. You'd never leave the house half the year, right? So yeah, hope you're doing well out there, Rex. Joseph, another one of my great moderators says, "Morning, Dennis and everyone. Happy Friday." Yeah, happy Friday to you too, Joseph. So if anybody wants to share their weekend plans, go ahead and put them in the chat. Let us know what you're doing. I know some of you go to school on Saturdays, as some of the people have told us in the chat, which I don't know if that's for me. But let us know if you have anything interesting coming up. Shilpati says, okay, the Microsoft Fabric event is going to be hosted in Las Vegas. Okay. See, I had to ask because I am positive that there has to be some sort of textile event, here in Vegas. Any type of trade show you can imagine happens here in Vegas. So, glad you're here. Is that a show you're coming into town for? Is that something you just happen to know? Anybody else use Microsoft Fabric? I'm not sure I know anybody that uses that. Let me know. I mean, I use Microsoft for my Outlook and Word and Excel, right? I think most people do that. But Microsoft Fabric, any big fans? Let me know. Okay, cool. Thank you for the introduction here. I am from Saleh, the twin city of Rabat, the capital of Morocco, and my kick name pronunciation is Makuta. Okay. So you're using the Darija representations for the 39. Okay, got it. Because otherwise, it looks like it's like a gamer name or something, right? I am interested in IT in general. I learned some networking, low-level things in software development, and some hardware. I like to go deep on how things work. Nice. Welcome. Glad you're here. So I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Makuta. I am terrible with Darija. I wish I was so much better at Darija. But yeah, thanks for explaining that. I did not recognize the 3 and the 9 in the way that you mentioned it. So I'm not sure how common that is in other languages. Maybe I guess it's common in some of the Arabic languages. But for those of you that don't know, in Morocco and in Darija, which is the local dialect of Arabic, they use, when you're writing it in Western letters, using a Western alphabet, there are combinations that are written with numbers instead of letters. So that's what the 3-9 represents. I only started learning those a little bit. I'm not too familiar with those, but glad you're here. If there's any specific questions or anything else that we can help you with, please let us know. But if you just want to sit back and learn, you're in the right spot. The whole purpose of my channel is to give you guys real world information. And, that's what I like to focus on, right? So I try to not give you guys bad information. I don't provide cheap courses or any nonsense like that. Just real world information here, okay? All right, so again, if you're just joining us, please let us know your city, state, province, country, or if you guys have any other questions, let us know. Otherwise, I have an article that I came across that I want to talk about. So let me bring that up because I think the article is interesting. And this article caught my attention for two reasons. One, it's an interesting topic. It relates to some of the topics that we have talked about earlier this week. Because earlier this week, if you remember, we also talked about the future of AI as data scientists, right? At doing data scientist work, right? So this article caught my eye because it's kind of correlated to that. It's very correlated to that, right? And I think it brings up a lot of greater issues, a lot of greater issues that go beyond just data science, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then for those of you who ask me for project ideas, or I don't know where to go next with my studies or things like that, these types of articles are great at giving you those ideas, at helping you say, oh, wait a minute, if they're looking at this, maybe I should be looking at this, or somebody, or an industry article mentioned this, I can come up with a solution for that. Let me work on that, right? So this article kind of covers all of those things, and we're gonna get to it, okay? So Makuta says, I will follow the flow of your stream, sir, to adapt. Oh, thank you, Makuta. I'm glad you're here, and just keep on coming back. It's a good place to learn. Lakshmi, our good friend Lakshmi says, morning, Dennis and everyone. Morning to you too, Lakshmi. Hope you're doing well. Let us know how you're doing out there, but glad you're here. I know you're one of the big weekend followers, right? I mean, I know you rarely miss a Sunday, so not surprised to see you here on a Friday. Thanks so much, Lakshmi. All right, so I got to tell you something. When I first read this title, I kind of misunderstood what this article was about. Oh, first of all, excuse me, let me back up. This is from the World Economic Forum, right? This is one of those, I think they're independent. They're like an independent forum that brings a lot of world and business leaders together. They're known for their big meeting in Switzerland every year, right? Davos, Switzerland, usually happens towards the beginning of the year. So we'll probably be hearing more about the World Economic Forum. I'm pretty sure they usually do it in January. So this is from them. This is one of the articles that they put out throughout the year. In the chat right now, I want you to tell me how you interpret this title. Because I actually misinterpreted the title the first time I read it. What do you guys think? Is this title throwing you off? What do you think you're going to be expecting from the title? Because I was kind of like, just a little bit confused when I actually understood what they're referring to here. What do you think? How we can bridge the AI divide with accessible data scientists? Let me know in the chat while I wait for you guys to put in your answers. They start off by giving us an idea of the scale, and let me make that bigger. I hope that's easier to read for you guys. So by 2025, the world will create 175 zettabytes of data each year. So they're saying that is 1.5 times the length of the Great Wall of China if the Wall of China were filled with 1 terabyte hard drives. That's crazy, right? Because here, just to give you guys an illustration, on my desk, I happen to have a terabyte hard drive. This is one of my backup drives. So this is a terabyte hard drive. So imagine like this is a brick. and you would have enough bricks to build the Great Wall of China 1.5 times over. All right? So that's a lot of data. That's a ton of data. If anything, I think all of these data estimates are on the low end, because how do you actually accurately measure this, right? Like, it's nearly impossible to measure. But that's how they're starting off, right? The exponential growth of data is far outpacing the linear increase in data science talent. The scarcity has inflated the cost of artificial intelligence talent to prohibitive levels. That's us, right? They're talking about us. We are data science talent, right? All of you are in here because you're interested in data science on some level, right? So this is referring to us. This is good for us, right? Like, we should get excited, right? This means, potentially more opportunities, more jobs, more projects, right? This is great. Then they talk about how this could create a divide, right? Between the companies who can afford data scientists, apart from the ones that can't, right? Having a staff of data scientists becomes an advantage, right? This growing chasm affects economic competitiveness in our collective ability to address pressing global challenges, right? So far so good, right? But then we come to this paragraph in this section. What if we could bridge the data divide by democratizing access to AI innovation? Imagine a world where every organization, regardless of size or resources, can access brilliant AI data scientists at almost no cost. Okay? I'm interested in hearing more, but this doesn't sound like it's going so well, right? What do you guys think? I mean, I'm not sure. This article kind of took a little bit of a different turn, right? So, bridging the divide with AI data scientists. Again, this is a confusing title. AI data scientists, that's us, right? We're data scientists. Everybody on this chat is interested in data science. All of us obviously know about AI. It's probably why some of us got interested in the recent past, right? That's us. But they're not talking about that. Here's the thing. They're not talking about that. The more accurate title for this section is Bridging the Divide with AI created data scientists. You see how it's like a little play on words? Because when you see the title, it's easy to get excited and say, well, they're talking about me. I'm an AI data scientist. Nope. They're talking about AI created data scientists. So again, this dovetails to our previous conversation about the role of AI in replacing data scientists. Can you find a way to use AI to create data scientist agents for you? That's ultimately what this article is talking about, right? AI data science agents is the key word in that statement, because now we're no longer talking humans, right? We're talking AI processes. Represent a promising solution to the exploding data challenge. These aren't tools, they represent a paradigm shift in how we approach complex problem solving on a global scale. Yeah. So here's another one of the key sentences. These agents automate entire data to decision pipelines, allowing human data scientists to oversee it, ensure their governance, and validate insights. So this is what we're looking at. This is what they're proposing, right? The agents will do the data to decision pipeline, which is what? It's a methodology. It's a data science methodology, right? And then the human data scientists are going to oversee it, ensure their governance, and validate the results. Rex says, great. I wanted you to address what role would AI agents play in the future of data science. Yeah, Rex. Well, this is it, right? This is what they're proposing, right? They're saying that they see the data to decision side, which is like the model building side, let's say, right, is going to be done by agents, and we, the humans, are just going to be overseeing it and validating the results. Excuse me, right? So that's essentially how they see it, Rex. That's generally also how I've seen it. Because, you know, as I've mentioned to you guys before, I see it that there will be portions of that methodology that will be overtaken, right? Like EDA, right? EDA, if you look at some of the tools that OpenAI has put out there, I'm gonna stop short of calling it solved, but EDA can be done quite a bit by AI, right? At least most aspects of EDA, right? There's still some you can do yourself, be creative and all that. But it's pretty good, right? And it's only going to get better. So if they can solve EDA, then maybe they can solve a visualization stage. And if you can solve that, maybe you can solve a data enrichment stage, right? That seems pretty achievable, right? And then so on, right? So different pieces of that pipeline will get eaten up eventually. I shouldn't say eaten up. They will be replaced by AI eventually. So as I keep on telling you guys, the time to prepare is now, right? Right now is the time for you to be that prepared data scientist, or when that time comes, when you are not doing the methodology, you are overseeing the results, right? Okay, so let's keep going. Actually, real quick, Yassine. Hello, sir. Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. Yassine, how are you? Glad you're here. Hope your studies are going well. I know you're a busy student, so hope you're doing well out there in Tangier. Okay, so at the heart of the operation is automated data processing, the most time-consuming aspect of data science, a process that typically consumes up to 80% of human data scientist time. Yeah, automatically handle data quality issues and prepare data for analysis. Yeah. AI is a great tool for that, right? So again, the smart data scientists, the people who are educating themselves right now, in other words, people like you, because you know you're watching my channel, you're investing time and learning about data science from me. It's a mistake to learn how to do it yourself. The smart path is to learn the prompts that are needed to help with those types of operations. Right? That's where the smart effort, the smart investment of your time is. We have to kind of look ahead here, right? And realize that, wait a minute, it's not going to be, you know, I can't spend the next 3 years studying X when in 2 years, X will be eliminated or X will be nearly replaced by AI, right? So the smart investment is to say, well, how can I work in conjunction with AI tools? What are the skills I need to like supervise the AI, right? Or run the AI myself, right? That's kind of like where the smart approach is, yeah? So what will set apart data science agents is their ability to use a variety of quantitative and advanced reasoning skills in analyzing data. Wait a minute. What will set apart data science AI agents is their ability to use a variety of quantitative and advanced reasoning skills in analyzing data. Isn't that what we do now? Right? They just described the job of a human data scientist, right? Like that is the job of data scientists, right? You use different approaches, different models to get the insights from the data, right? So that's kind of scary, right? But because they're seeing a full replacement of data scientists, us, right? So not necessarily disagreeing with their outcomes, because you guys know that I am a proponent of AI, but a little weird, right? A little weird. So here they present to kind of close out the article, they present two different use cases. So first one, they're saying transforming water management in underserved communities, and they talk about the need for clean water and help in obtaining clean water in some specific communities or countries, right? Developing nations and things like that, right? And they give you 4 bullet points that are actually not terrible project ideas, right? So now we're getting more into the project ideas I mentioned, right? Because a lot of you approach me about this, and to me, project ideas are everywhere. You just have to read articles like this, right? You have to invest the time to do this. But if you look at these bullet points, that's 4 pretty good ideas right off the bat. You could come up with models for this, or you could use AI to come up with models for this, right? RC Sim, welcome. Maybe that article is written by ChatGPT. Yeah, maybe, right? And ChatGPT has become self-aware and is now discouraging us from starting as data scientists, right? That's possible. Rex says, this is a bit different from the article we reviewed the other day about data scientists using generative AI to assist in the process. In what way do you say that, Rex? Because to me, they're similar. The previous article maybe talked about individual portions, but those portions lead to a complete replacement with an AI agent like what this is describing, right? So the previous article we had read was maybe just kind of looking at the next 1 to 2 years, whereas this one is looking at the next 3 to 4 years, right? Because I think we're still a couple of years away from like, full AI agents like this. I could be wrong on that, but if I'm wrong on that, it's going to be sooner. But let me know, Rex. I'm happy to hear your thoughts on this, because I know that this is a topic you think a lot about, right? Okay, so here, guys. For those of you right now that are students or are looking for a next project, I always get questions about project ideas. They're right here. So model 1, predict potential futures before they occur. Sure. Failure prediction, huge field in data science. Preventive maintenance instead of costly emergency repairs. Yeah. You can come up with a model for that. Optimize resource allocation on actual needs. Yeah. Now think about that. Resource allocation, that can mean a million things. Are you talking about people? Are you talking about the water itself? Are you talking about the way you handle your budget, your monetary resources? Like that's like 3 project ideas in one, right? And then identify high risks for water scarcity. Yeah. How are you actually getting your product, your final product to people? Where do you need to get it the most, right? What are the logistics of getting it to those areas of scarcity? Lots of stuff to do there as projects, right? Okay, so Rex adds, maybe I'm misremembering as the other one didn't address AI agents. I believe it was more about utilizing prompting to get better results from LLMs. I could be wrong though. Okay, no, Rex, you're on the right track. So the previous article was about a portion, specifically the model building process of data science. It was about prompting in LLMs, but it was also about showing it to a non-technical audience, right? The previous article took a non-technical, non-data scientist audience and taught them how to do prompting so that they can come up with their own, their own model that use data science in it, right? Obviously, probably not a big model, but still an amazing feat to be able to do that with a non-technical audience with just prompts, right? So that's kind of the part you're remembering, Rex. But they're still similar in the sense that non-technical people will be able to use these AI agents also, right? Like, that's kind of the point, right? That you no longer need the expensive data scientist. Anybody could run these AI agents, or the requirement for your staff is a lot smaller, right? You don't need the 10 data scientists. You might need 2 or 3, right? And again, I've mentioned this that is not unheard of, right? That's happened in if you look at the financial industry and the trading industry. Traders nowadays, in most situations, there are some exceptions, don't really make trade decisions on their own. They sit there and they monitor algorithms, and the algorithms decide what to do, right? So you don't need as many traders before. You need a smaller number now. That's happened in the financial industry, right? So those are the parallels that I see. Okay, so right there, 4 project ideas for anybody that wants to pursue them, relating to the water distribution, water management. But you could probably take some of those same 4 ideas and translate it to other industries, right? So, and next they talk about small manufacturing innovation, and I know we've had some people in the chat who are interested in manufacturing, construction, things along those lines, right? So here's another set, right? An AI data, here's another set of project ideas, is what I should have said. An AI data scientist could transform operations by predicting equipment failures, root cause of quality issues, and suggesting precise adjustments. That's huge in manufacturing, right? Because if you're at a company that produces thousands and thousands of pieces every year, just the small reduction in mistakes can mean a lot of money, right? If you're in a factory that produces 1 million pieces a year, if you could reduce their errors by 1%, that's a lot of pieces, right? Production schedules to improve efficiency and reduce waste, yeah. When should your machines run? When shouldn't they run? How many people do you need to run them, right? What does the HR staffing look for that, right? So things to consider there. Balancing inventory levels to enhance cash flow, yeah, right? And this is something that's come up in a couple of situations before, both with my clients and on the chat here. There is no single use for data science in any organization, right? Because you could be looking at the sales side, at the marketing side, at the HR side, on the supply side, right? Like you can use, most people don't think of this, but you can use AI to determine how you handle your vendors, right? Like maybe you could improve your shipping schedule of things that are coming into you, not necessarily going out to you, right? The stuff you produce, right? Which is what people typically think of, right? But yeah, what if you could use AI to help you understand when you should be ordering new items, when vendors should be making their deliveries? Because maybe you can minimize the warehouse space you need if you're now receiving items exactly when you need them because AI optimized it, right? Like, could you develop a model for that? Yeah, I could think of a couple of models you could do for that, right? So again, guys, project ideas, they're all around this. Pinpointing energy waste and recommending specific saving opportunities. Yeah, sure. Basically a cost reduction, using AI for cost reduction, right? Energy savings or energy waste is just one example of that. But there's lots of ways that you can use AI for cost reduction, right? Or budget optimization, right? So that's again, that's the second reason why this article caught my eye, because for those of you that are looking for project ideas, don't know where to start reading articles like this, right? The more time you invest in this, the more that you can come across those opportunities for project ideas, for those projects that you should be developing on your own, putting on your LinkedIn, talking about in interviews, right? And again, this is you doing the actual work of a data scientist. You don't need anybody's permission to go out and do these models. Just do the work of a data scientist, right? Okay, so finally they close off in balancing trust with automation, right? So you can't afford the data scientist, but maybe you can afford an AI agent, but how do you trust the results? How do you oversee it? So that's what this closes off with. And the combination of human oversight and explainable AI transforms them from black boxes into trusted partners. And that's something that I think about a lot with my clients. Because what this article doesn't mention is that I see a time when AI and the agents and all of that, right, will be so good that trust is not even a question. They will be so good, so accurate, so mistake-free that you'll just accept their results like wholesale, right? We're going to get to that stage, guys. And that's why I sometimes get a little bit, not bothered, but it just makes me question the people, the people who say, oh, AI can't replace me. I'm a coder. I'm a data scientist. It can't replace me. Have you seen the code it produces? It does terrible code, blah, 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 blah. But that's now. But a year from now, 2 years from now, after they've improved, after they've gotten more cycles, new model deployments, they're gonna get to a stage where they're so good that it'll just be mistake-free every time. Right? So that's where, I think that this is headed. The article doesn't quite say that, but there is going to be some initial hesitation, but eventually there's going to be the trust will be built up because the models are really going to be that good. But I'm excited to see where that's going. And then that's basically it for this article, right? That's kind of the end. Those are the different ideas that I wanted to pull out of it. But here's another idea I wanted to bring up. And these ideas start to get a little bit more esoteric, right? Maybe this is more like the data executive and manager in me that's coming up with this. But to me, in these articles, and maybe, some of you have the same view, when you're talking about these accessible AI data scientists, you're talking about these AI agents that are fully automated, right? Can do a lot with a lot of data. You're kind of talking about something that is kind of a competitive advantage, right? If you're the first person in your industry to obtain these agents, that's kind of a powerful move. If you're the first person as a data scientist, as an individual that is smart enough to know how to use AI and has really good prompting skills, and that supervisory approach, right, to monitor everything, that's also pretty powerful for you too, right? So as an individual person, that's powerful. As a company, if you're the first small manufacturer in your production of whatever, a production of coffee mugs, let's just say, right? That's great, right? That's really important. That's a competitive advantage. But what if you're the first city in your region, or the first state or province in your region? Or what if you're the first country in your area to do this? How excited are you to share that? How excited are you to share that competitive advantage? Right? See, to me, that's where the conversation gets a little bit more sticky, because it's kind of like, if you really see the power in this, then the power of being first, and then the power of being the only one who has it, becomes very, very scary, right? Like, I've had this conversation with other colleagues and clients in the past where I think we're also headed is you're going to have like government only or military only versions of these LLMs. That's going to happen. I'd be surprised if it wasn't already happening, right? Like, are we getting OpenAI's latest models, like absolute latest models? I'd say there's some non-zero probability that we're not, right? That governments or countries or other organizations are probably getting them first, right? I think it'd be naive to believe anything less than that. But start thinking about that, right? Because the World Economic Forum here in this article, they're kind of assuming an open sharing of AI, right? Like a globally open sharing is what I meant, right? But what if that doesn't start happening? Or what if you have companies that drop out of trade organizations or whatnot because they see themselves as so much more advanced than their competitors who didn't use AI, who don't have the resources for AI, right? It kind of becomes like this divide among people, among companies, among countries, among regions, right? I know that it's not too common here in the US, but I know that in other countries, even within the same country, the regions and provinces are very competitive, right? Competitive among each other, I mean. So what happens when certain regions get these AI agents and others don't, right? That's kind of a scary outcome. So think about that, because that's kind of where my thoughts are. And again, that may just be of interest to me. You know, that's me thinking about it from a data executive level, right? But think about that, because these are the things that I see potentially coming, and they're not always comfortable to think about, right? Indrajit, welcome. Glad you're here, my friend. Hi, Dennis. I'm from India. I have experience of 5 years working with watershed management project. Oh, very cool. Where I had to work with watersheds data for the entire district or state. Want to shift to data field. I want to get your views on how I should approach this field. Well, Indrajit, if you were, I don't know when you joined, but if you were looking at some of the items we discussed around this article, you could use some of those project ideas, right? It was talking about water management. So I don't know if that's what caught your eye, if that's why you joined, but start, I'm recommending this for you because obviously it sounds like you already have some work experience, but go ahead and start developing some ideas for projects that you could do to demonstrate why you're going to shift into the data field, right? Because the way you're describing your work, it's almost like you already have good data analysis skills, right? So the next step to do that is to build up on that via modeling skills. But then again, I'm assuming that you want to be a data scientist. You said that you want to shift to a data field. Well, I mean, maybe you have other things in mind. So let me know. But you're in the right place. We try to give good advice here, so just keep on coming back. AI. AI. Sorry, Rex. Rex says, which one do you see getting solved first by AI? The software development process or the data science process? Ooh. Oh, Rex, what a great question. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Leo says AI Rex. Yeah, I don't know why I called you AI Rex. Sorry about that. Leo says, hey everyone, arrived late after a bad haircut. Sorry to hear that, Leo. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Leo, let me know where you get your haircut, because my first thought was thinking about how expensive haircuts are in New York. And then my second thought was, wait a minute, but I kind of went to a shady place to get my haircut in New York. I'll tell you guys about that sometime. But Rex is asking a fantastic question. It's a good question for the chat. Chat, what do you guys think? What's going to be replaced first by AI? Software development, like your traditional DevOps or, software engineer stuff, or your data scientist stuff? I think it's really interesting. Rex says, I'm not AI, beep boop. That's funny. That's funny. But guys, Rex has put a good question for the chat. What's gonna get replaced first? So give me SWE or DS in your answers. SWE for software engineer or DS for data scientist. What's gonna be replaced by AI first? So Leo's already voting. Leo is 100% sure it's gonna be software development. Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead and put down your votes. Rex also is voting SWE. Now I can't trust both Dennis and Rex, both Elon made. Oh, that's hilarious. Makuda's coming up with an interesting view on this. I like it. I think data science process, since it costs more, so they will want to invest it to a low cost. But software engineers are also expensive, my friend. Have I will concede that some of the salaries have dropped in recent years, but it's not cheap to have a whole software engineering staff, though, right? Yassine is also voting for data scientists. RC Sim says data science because software development involves a lot more flexibility in work. Help me understand what you mean by that. Involves more flexibility in work. So you mean like flexibility of thought, like more creativity? Or what do you think? Let me know, RC Sim. Joseph is saying software, as they say SWE. Okay. This is really interesting, guys, because I think Rex meant this from a challenge perspective, right? Like what will AI be able to achieve first, right? Full software development life cycle or the full data scientist life cycle, right? Because that's how I took Rex's question to mean. But I love the fact that some of you are saying, well, I think that the costs are a consideration. Or RC Sim maybe is implying about the type of mindset required, right? So very interesting. Precious, I see you over on X. Thank you so much. We always ask people to introduce themselves. Let us know your city, state, country, province, and anything else you want us to know. But we ask people to do that, and then we're happy to answer your questions, okay? Yassine, I'd love to hear your rationale for DS, because it sounds like people are applying different rationales. Because see, for me, I was applying the rationale of how hard is it, right? Like how far away are we from it? And I think it's software engineering. I think the software engineering side is going to be solved first. There's a couple of different things that kind of are intersected with that, right? Because if you solve software engineering, you'd also have to solve like software data access issues, things like that, right? So RC Sim says software developers create LLMs. Software developers create a lot of the software used by data scientists. Automating the work to use software is easier than automating the creation of it. Okay. But RC Sim, some people might disagree with your first statement. Data scientists create LLMs, not software developers. Right? Software developers create a lot of the software used by data scientists. Yeah, but in a proper AI agent, you won't need any software, right? I mean, like we could reach a point where AI is your prompting engine, it's your IDE, and it's your compiler or your interpreter all in one, right? So you won't even need software. Guys, to RC Sim's point, will we need like Visual Studio Code in 5 years? Like, if you believe this AI agent article, are you even going to need an interpreter for Python locally anymore? The agent will be that, right? The agent will be part of that process, right? Like, that's kind of where we're headed with this, right? Like, you won't even need to run the code on your locally anymore or on your own anymore. Right? RC Sim says the agent is software. Yeah, but the underlying code or approach is still data science though, right? And data scientists aren't, it's not like data scientists are non-coders, right? Most data scientists can hold their own when it comes to code. Some data scientists that have worked for me have been better coders than the software engineers that used to work for me, right? So I don't know, RC Sim. There's lines in between the work, but I don't know if they're that defined. You know what I mean? But if anybody else wants to give their rationale, because it sounds like everybody has different rationale for why they're saying it. So another way to present my own rationale would be to say that you guys know that I think that the creativity side of data science is super important. You got to be able to prompt the AI to do something. You have to be able to come up with the project ideas for things that you want to solve. The AI agents don't know that, right? The AI agents still have the requirement of presenting them with some need, right? Some use case. The ability to come up with those use cases to look at a business is still part of the human effort, right? So that portion, I think, will still remain very much in the hands of capable data scientists. Precious says, I'm Precious Emmanuel from Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome, Precious. Glad to have you here. Lots of viewers from Nigeria, so glad to have you here. Okay, so Precious, while you guys think about the other question, I'm going to look at Precious's question here. Well, I'm aspiring to be a renowned DSML. I've been self-learning for a while now and want to work on a project, but I sincerely don't know how to go about that. If I could get a guide or word of recommendation would make my day. So Precious, let us know what part of that process is holding you up. Is it about the business idea or the use case idea or a piece of code that you don't know? Give me some more information there. Give me some more information there, okay? Indrajit, coming back to our previous statement or previous question. Yes, that's right. I'm used to MS Excel, have an idea from that, and experience in the field is how it works in implementing watershed management projects. But I am now learning PBI, Tableau, Python. Okay, cool. But how should I treat this? Should I go about doing projects and simultaneously build my skills on those tools and thereby develop the idea of various businesses, or should I one by one deal with each tool? Indrajit, I'm glad that you're thinking about the items you mentioned as just tools, right? Because that is the viewpoint that you should take. So the question is not, what tools should I learn? The question is, how do I use those tools? When do I use those tools? Why do I use those tools, right? So it sounds like you would benefit from learning a data science methodology to help you understand the bigger picture. I mean, Python is great, Tableau is great, but they're just tools. They're not nearly as helpful if you don't know when to use them or why, right? Like, why are you choosing Tableau? Not the tool itself, but like why even need Tableau? Why does a visualization stage exist? You don't have to visualize anything, right? It's all data and code. So I want you to start thinking about it more in that direction, right? Like, why would you need Python? How are you deciding that you need a neural network versus something else? Right? That's really kind of the parts that I would encourage you to start looking at. All right. Does anybody else want to represent or want to present their rationale for software engineering or data scientist replacement? It's a good discussion. It's a good question, Rex. And Rex, did you give us your view on it? Because Rex, let me go. Okay, yeah, Rex thinks software engineering. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? You know what I think is another reason? Is that software engineering, the life cycle is a little bit more defined. The methodology is a little bit more defined, right? The SDLC is very well known, right? Lots of books and articles on the SDLC. Not as many on data science, right? So think about that. Software engineering has a lot of things that are interconnected and it's open to many possibilities. AI can already do interesting EDA. I think at the moment, if you give ChatGPT your data and your objectives, what would be left for the LLM is to identify the models and algorithms that should be experimented with and just applying the data to them. Okay. So Yassine, it sounds like you think that data scientists will be replaced first, right? Yeah, I think you're leaning towards saying that data science is going to be replaced. I stopped because I'm reading your first sentence again. Software engineering has a lot of things that are interconnected and it's open to many possibilities. Yeah, but so is data science, right? And that's the part that I think is key, the open to many possibilities. There are, I think you could argue that there are so many more use cases for data science than there are for software engineering. Right? That's an interesting argument. I'm kind of doubting myself a little bit. But I think that there might be more possibilities for data science than there is for software engineering. Yeah, I think that's accurate. What do you guys think about that? AJ says, hello everyone. Hello AJ, good to see you again. AJ from Berlin, I believe. Domain-specific experts who leverage data scientists are irreplaceable. Domain-specific experts who leverage data science are irreplaceable. Yeah. I think I'm on board with that. It depends on how domain specific and kind of like who you're referring to. When you say that, AJ, I'm imagining somebody that's more like a data executive, right? Probably not like a foot soldier. But who knows? Maybe you meant something different, right? But yeah, I mean, for sure, the future belongs to people who can use data science tools smartly, right? That's 100% true. And that's a lot of my client base too, by the way, guys. Leo says, I was just texting that. Thank you for blowing my... That just means that we're connected together, Leo. Leo says, but indeed, the steps don't rely much on creativity, but on methods, steps, and tasks. Today, you already have people doing front end with no code knowledge, only creativity. Yeah, absolutely, Leo. And Leo, that's exactly the kind of thing that I have in mind, right? Like if I'm somebody who wants to stand up a new website, like I'm not going to hire somebody for that anymore, right? Like I've been telling you guys that from the beginning. If I'm an HTML or front end or CSS developer, like I'm really worried right now. Like, have you seen the CSS and HTML that LLMs can produce? Like it's near perfect, right? Like, you know, assuming you're describing and prompting it correctly, right? Like CSS and HTML is basically solved, right? So it's really just limited to you and how you tell the LLM to make your page look, right? So I hear you on that, Leo. Yeah. Um, and yeah, the methods and steps is a little bit of the weakness of why it can be replaced so easily, right? If you have a very methodical process, then that's a great process to automate, right? So yeah, Leo, I agree on that. So Precious, Precious, let me quickly answer your question here. I don't know how to be vulnerable here because my questions may sound a bit off. My difficulty is knowing exactly the approach to take and also the exact problem to solve with any data set I try to work on as a DS. Well, it comes back to what Leo just said, right? Creativity. So Precious, I don't mean this in a negative way, but it sounds like you need to maybe just further develop your creative skills, right? Maybe you just need to spend more time here and just more time around data scientists to develop that type of thinking pattern for the different solutions you can develop, right? Because it sounds like you've already done some work on your own, but I would encourage you to study the methodology, study other articles, like the article we read today, right? That's, like I said, these articles are perfect for picking up project ideas, right? And start developing your creativity. Start developing your mind around how you see the world, how data is represented in the world, things along those lines, and the project ideas will come from that, okay? Lawman says, I think it will be both, slowly eating both from the bottom. Yeah. Yeah, Lawman, that could be true, right? They could kind of just be in conjunction with each other. Yassine says, for example, data science, the hard part is to actually define the project. Once that's defined, I think the rest is easy to implement. Sure. For software engineering, I think it's very hard to define all aspects of the project from the beginning. But AI will do that, right? The AI agent will do all those definitions, right? For example, the data science, the hard part is actually define the project. Once that's defined, I think that it's easy to implement. Yeah, sure, Yassine. But you're defining an opportunity in there, right? The opportunity in there is to become a creative data scientist. And really, you could also argue that you don't need to be a data scientist to define projects. You're really more of a business analyst or a data executive to do that, right? Those are the people that really define the projects or the needs, right? And then the project comes from there, right? So maybe that's how we should be thinking about it, right? Yeah, I mean, because I think that you don't need to be a good data scientist to be a good business analyst that can go in and say, oh, wait a minute, here's four things that an algorithm can solve for you, right? You don't need a master's in data science to do that. Leo says, we have years of backend code, and at the core, those things don't change. It doesn't matter how complex it is. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Leo. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you have to assume that GitHub was scraped at some point for these LLMs. And yeah, I mean, tons of code back there, right? Tons of code in the software development world. AJ says, NVIDIA CEO, English will be the new language to code, and we don't need to learn code. Yeah, sure. And that's exactly what these articles are talking about, right? With the AI agents. It will be about how good you can prompt. Your prompting skills will be the differentiation, right? So I agree with that, AJ. Alindo, I see you over on X. Welcome. I think it's your first time. We always ask people to introduce themselves. Let us know your city, state, province, country, and then happy to help you. Okay. RC Sim says website builders do great jobs without using any AI. Yeah, but can't you use AI to build an even better website builder? And by the way, guys, I maybe like 2 months ago, I was toying with the idea of having a landing page for some of the stuff that I do. And I created a complete landing page all with ChatGPT. So yeah, you're right. I could have used a website builder for something like that, or even a landing page template or something like that. But I decided to use AI, and I built it completely from the ground up. And I would ask it to, oh well, center this, put this side by side. Let me add a table here. I want the form to submit over here, so on and so forth. It worked amazingly, right? Like, to me, HTML, CSS, all of that is solved, right? Hey guys, give me just a second here. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had two family members text me, so I was curious if something was going on or whatnot. But it looks like everything's okay. All right, so Precious, I'm going to give you the same answer as before. You don't know what to do from a data set because you don't have the creativity for it. Again, I'm sorry that I'm not trying to sound antagonistic with that, but that's the portion that you're missing there, right? You've gone out, you've learned the tools, you have some data, but you don't have the creativity to know how to put all those together. So what you're missing there is a data science methodology, right? So I would encourage you to think about learning a methodology, learning what data science is, and why you would need data, why you would need Python, and so on and so on, okay? Software development in general is not like what a website builder does. The more repetitive things get automated continuously, even by the developers who previously did that automatable work. Yes, but that's where where generative AI shines, right? Because generative AI gives you code that never existed before. It generated it from what it knows, right? So a website builder is still a little bit limited by the formatting and the options it has, right? Whereas with a Gen AI tool, you can ask it to do anything. The Gen AI tool doesn't know nor care that you created a terrible format for a website, whereas a website builder would stop you from doing that because it has a framework for what websites look like, right? Yeah, I think that makes sense because guys, let's not forget the generative side of all of this, right? A website builder is still a little static. It has guardrails built in, right? To the limits of the software engineer. But Gen AI, don't forget the gen part, generative, right? It creates stuff that didn't exist before. So that's where I think that coding part of it, speaking to the software engineering side, is powerful. Because it says, I know A, I know B, I know C, and from those three, I can create X. That's the generative side, right? So think about that, RC Sim, because the website builder still has guardrails, whether you want them or not, whether you realize them or not, right? Precious says, thank you so much for the words. Please, are you always here and what time? So I don't miss any episode. Yeah, thank you, Precious. Generally 1500 GMT. So whatever time it is for you now, at the previous hour is when I usually start. 1500 GMT is when I usually stream, okay? Makuta, our new friend on Kick, says, at this point, the only thing we need to do is design the project prompt to AI, and it will build all the aspects of the project. Absolutely. Yeah, Makuta, you're highlighting how your prompting skills are going to be the limiting factor, right? Or as AJ said before, your ability to prompt in English and your ability to be creative will be the limiting factors, right? AJ says, are we currently experiencing a geopolitical Cold War centered around advancements in controlled artificial intelligence? 100% AJ. Thank you so much for that comment. Because that's really what I was trying to get across to you guys in my closing notes on the article, right? How important are GPU chips right now? How important are NVIDIA boards right now? How important are power now, right? If you're in a country that still has power issues, rolling blackouts or brownouts or whatever, you're going to have a hard time standing up an AI capable data center, right? Or what if you're a cloud company like an AWS or an Azure? Could there be like this political or geopolitical Cold War that AJ says where a government, like a state government or like a province government would go to AWS and say, hey, we'd really appreciate it if you stop selling to our neighbors. You can sell your AI capabilities to us, but don't sell them to the people next door. Right? I get it. This is getting a little bit out there. I hate to sound like some crazy conspiracy theorist, right? But the access to AI will be a very, very important factor in a country's or state's or region's well-being, right? Like that's going to be a thing. So I totally understand why AJ would ask that question. Like think about it at a company level or at a region level, at a country level, right? The access will become very, very important. Well, the building and the access, right? And like I said, with my example, I would not be surprised if OpenAI or companies like OpenAI were pre-selling their models, right? Like there's no law that says that OpenAI has to give the public access to its latest models. What if OpenAI started giving us access to their third most latest model, but then other parties got access to their very, very latest model, right? Like that's a form of a divide also, right? That's not always comfortable to think about, right? So yeah, AJ, I think you're on the right track. I think that if we are not experiencing it, I can totally see it headed in that direction. Yassine says, yes, what I meant is one person can create an idea would be enough, but for software engineering, we need experts in multiple domains just to describe the project to the LLM. Yeah, okay, I could see that. I mean, Yassine, I can see that because just from my experience, most software engineers, like that's all they know, right? Software engineers are usually terrible business people, right? They completely stink at business. And that's why, it's kind of like an old joke now in Silicon Valley, but you guys, maybe you guys know about this, but there's this old joke in Silicon Valley about, every company starts with a couple of software engineering buddies, they build it up, they get some VC money, and then the VC comes in and says, great, here's the money, we like your product, but you can no longer be CEO. It's time to let the children stop playing, and then they bring in an adult CEO, right? Like you saw that with Google, right? Right, the VCs have basically said, "Oh, okay, Sergey, it's time to retire, right? Time to stop playing with the children. Let's bring in the real people, right?" And that's how you get like an Eric Schmidt, right? So I agree with that, right? That most software engineers are just like, just tell me what to code, right? I mean, they're kind of locked in that way, right? It's to their detriment. They're just not smart enough to know it, right? So I hear you on that, but so is that going to lead to them being around longer than data scientists? Maybe. I don't know, Yassine. I mean, like, I agree with you, but I guess I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not happy about it, right? Yeah. Alindo says, I'm from South Africa, currently delving into data science, but I'm working on Python for some time, so it was only obvious. Great, thank you so much, Alindo. Thanks for the introduction. Really glad to have you here. I know it's your first time. Welcome to the community. I think you're getting a good flavor today for how our conversations usually go. So keep on coming back. You're in a good place if you want real world data science, okay? Yassine says, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it actually depends on how big the project is. Okay, Yassine. Okay. You know, Yassine, I can appreciate that you are aware of your thoughts enough to say, well, wait a minute, I could be wrong. Like, you know, this is one of my thoughts, but I could be wrong on it. So I appreciate that awareness, Yassine. Very important in all aspects of science. So good for you. Let us know if it develops a little further, okay? Danny says, Daniel from Canada. Nice, Daniel. Welcome. Always good to see some Canadians here. I think DS will remain relevant for years because it requires human intuition and creativity in developing end-to-end data pipelines. Plus, data scientists are the ones building LLMs. Yeah. I will say, though, you had me at building LLMs. You lost me at data pipelines. But, Daniel, I can appreciate your view here. So, you know, earlier we talked about EDA, right? I don't think anyone in the chat is opposing that EDA will be replaced by AI. And you know what, Danny? I think data pipelines might be next. Data sourcing and data pipelines might be next. I could see us reaching a point, if we're not there already, where you could just say, hey, look, here's my database diagram. Here's the use case I'm trying to solve. What queries do I need from that? And write me the queries that I need for that. Like, I think an LLM, you know, can do most of that already. And if it can't, we're definitely headed in that direction, right? Because let's be honest with guys, I mean, you know, we kind of get caught up in data pipelines and all that, but at the end of the day, most data pipeline is just Python code, right? It's Python code that plays traffic cop to say, okay, I need data from here, I need to update this, I need to delete this, I need to get this daily, I need to get this hourly. You're just writing Python code to do all of that, right? There's not a lot of like hidden magic to it. And if you like the Python code that LLMs write now, then why couldn't they write that type of data pipeline code? It's achievable, right? You have to conclude that it's achievable. So I hear you, Danny. I think that the role of data scientists in building LLMs is definitely understated. But do they need that in data pipelines? Probably not, right? You need it for developing the... I mean, I love how you said human intuition, because then that human intuition can also be valuable. But I think you need that more at the project design level and the tasks that you're trying to solve. You need those skills at that level more than you need them for data pipelines. But thanks for being here, Danny. I know it's your first time, so thanks so much. Leo says, instead of thinking we're going to lose our jobs, it's a chance to think how we're going to be shaped by this new creative development demand. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Leo. Start working on those creativity skills. Absolutely. 100%. And that's also assuming you don't buy into my crazy conspiracy theories that this could lead to the end of the world too, right? Leo adds, maybe a generalized knowledge over the systems might be more beneficial compared to the narrow perspective. 100%. And it's not just over the systems, Leo, but over the business, right? It's being able to know that, wait a minute, figuring out how to optimize our email marketing is only one of like 50 ways we can use algorithms in my company. So I'm going to go out and find as many of those ways as possible, right? You know, like I keep on saying, like, are you going to use data science for HR, for marketing, for inventory, for resource planning, for the purchases, right? Like, I'll give you guys an example. I'm not sure if I've shared this before. I don't think I've shared this for you guys before, to you guys before. But one of the times when I searched for a data science job, I got an offer from I'm not going to name the company, but it was a cruise ship company. You know how they have like those cruises around the world, and cruise to Mexico, the Caribbean, all that, right? It was for a cruise company. That's all I'm going to say about them, because I want to be a little private about them. And so when I tell you that, you guys are probably thinking a million ways that you could use data science. And the most common way you guys are thinking of, oh, well, you could probably work with passenger data, or you can work with like the sales data, or like, the sales on the website, or whatever, right? And that was, and sure, you can do that, right? I mean, there's like a million projects like that, right? But that wouldn't be unique to them, right? Like, tons of people do website analytics or marketing data, right? I probably wouldn't have been interested if that was the case. But these guys, to their credit, they were smarter than the average bear, right? So I didn't take the offer, but they told me what I'd be working on. So basically, this cruise ship company, they spend $1 billion a year on fuel. All those ships they got all around the world? It was a large company, so I can't remember how many ships they had around the world, like 35 ships or something like that, 40 ships. They told me that it cost them $1 billion in fuel to run those ships. And basically my job was come in and reduce that cost. So I was interested in working for them because I thought, okay, if these guys, and by the way, this was many, many years ago, right? So I thought, if these guys are creative enough to come up with that as a potential project, then they're probably thinking ahead, which is good, right? It's a good sign. And that's kind of like, for someone like me, what makes those types of jobs interesting. But to Leo's point, the reason I'm bringing this up is because that's the type of thinking you are going to need, right? To be able to say, like, yeah, let's not go for the obvious crap about analyzing our customers, right? Everybody does that, right? Every yuck out there does that. Let's look at other things, right? Like, what are some of the other things we could be doing? Because if you think about it, right? Because here's like where the secret sauce that you as an individual add, right? Because one of the reasons I think they kind of narrowed down on me as a candidate, was because when they told me that, my immediate thought is, well, even if you break that out from your business, right? If you're looking at fuel costs for a business, even within that, there's two ways to look at it. You could optimize the usage, right? And you can optimize the purchase. Because when you're talking about working for large companies, you're usually talking about buying resources in a raw state, right? Like, you're not just pulling up a cruise ship to any random port and just saying, get me gas. Like, you're buying these things, months, if not years ahead of time, right? So even with that, you could still have two different algorithms. How do we better route and operate the ships? Or how do we better time our purchases to lower that number, right? So that type of creativity, you're still going to need help on your own. That's on you, right? That's you and your knowledge, your experience, your business acumen to help you with that. To say, yeah, okay, I can help you, and I can help you in multiple ways, right? So I appreciate your statement there, Leo, and I definitely I definitely get it, because that type of broad perspective is really what's going to be needed for all of us here, right? RC Sim says a lot of semiconductors are fabricated in Taiwan, which could be part of China's motivation to invade. My comments about chips were related to the data science, AI, Cold War comment from Likely when 10 minutes ago. Yeah, I know, RC Sim. Sometimes I give long answers. I get it. AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel fabricate their latest chips in Taiwan. As far as I know, Intel was fabricating chips in US until last year. Yeah, okay, yeah. So RC Sim, I love your view here, right? Because RC Sim is definitely referring back to, is the, to AJ's statement or AJ's question about, is this becoming a geopolitical Cold War? So yeah, the next level up is, where are you making these chips, right? Who are the biggest chip makers, right? Absolutely. So if you start looking at it that way, Taiwan does become very important as a region, right? So yeah, I hear you, RC Sim. I think that is a concern, right? So what is one country's motivation to take over Taiwan? What is another country's motivation to help prevent that, right? Yeah, I hear you on that. Definitely to be concerned. Definitely things to be concerned about. Rex says, would be interesting to see who comes up with the best data science results from AI agents. Best in what way, Rex? Like, by what measure? Help me understand what metric you would apply to that. Because remember, Rex, you don't always have to be the best to be beneficial. So coming back to this example about the cruise ships, if I come back to them and say, hey, I saved you 10%, that's a big number, right? And the company is going to benefit from that and be happy from that. But that's not to say that 10% would be the optimal savings. What if the optimal savings was 12%, and for X, Y, or Z reason, you just never got there? Does that make 10% bad? No, but it wasn't the best. So it depends on how you're measuring the best, Rex. Let me know. AJ says, it's unsettling to consider how a nation with superior AI capabilities could leverage that power to dominate or influence global dynamics. 100%, AJ. 100%. And yeah, I mean, it gets scary real quick if you think about it too much, right? And then, to RC Sim's point about, well, where are these chips made, right? Okay. Or, right now, a lot of countries, including the US, are going through budget cuts, right? Kind of taking a bigger picture. Well, the US, I'm going to say countries like the US, because I know other countries do it. Well, a lot of countries like the US give a lot of foreign aid, right? But what if your government realizes that foreign aid is being used to create new power plants, to improve a country's power structure, or power grid, or power efficiency? Well, if power leads to more data centers, and more data centers leads to more AI, maybe I should cut that energy funding. Maybe I should cut that foreign aid funding, right? Or maybe you're not so enthusiastic about helping other places develop now, right? So I hear you, AJ. It gets dark real quick, right? And you guys know that on my channel, we don't talk about politics, religion, things like, I like to keep the conversation civil. I think that's one of the reasons why you guys attend, why things are generally spam free. We don't get a lot of spam. So I'm sorry, if I'm crossing my own lines there. I don't intend to, but I think that for us to be like holistic data scientists, again, always looking at things at the meta level, some of these things gets kind of scary. AI as a tool is a very powerful competitive advantage. You tend to protect your competitive advantages, right? You don't give away your secret sauce if your secret sauce is the reason you sell, right? So, I commend everyone for all of us are keeping things civil, and I love that in our chat, but But yeah, I mean, you have to have a recognition that some aspects of this get a little dark. Okay, so Makuda says, what I meant by designing a project and prompt, I don't mean prompting nowadays in LLMs like ChatGPT, but maybe in the future, there will be a language like UML to design a complex project in all aspects, just using diagrams and those types of things. And a future AI tool will generate the code and build a complete project. Maybe the deployment of the project too. Yeah. Okay. I hear you. You know what? That sounds like something that's probably already under development. You guys know that in the past I've said that, hey, there's a lot of companies right now in stealth mode, right? A lot of AI-oriented companies in stealth mode, right? It would not surprise me if there was a stealth mode company already working on this, Makuda. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. That sounds like something that somebody's already working on. So yeah, I could see that. I'm on board with that. Makuda adds, to be more clear on my point is that the tool will not take the text as input, but a standard modeling of a system's language as input, and generate the build output as a complete project. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably already underway. Leo says, we can't see your face, Dennis. What do you mean? Like, I'm monitoring one of my feeds. Some of the text that you guys are writing is kind of long, but why do you need my face, Leo? Are you using this to train AI? It's just video, guys. RC Sim says, my wife coincidentally worked at a semiconductor testing company in Taiwan. Oh, very cool. Very cool. The ones that offer the most expected value across... this is Rex, by the way. The ones that offer the most expected value across stakeholders with the most flexible and robust processes. Okay, Rex. So that's in reply to my question about best. Okay, so that's how you're defining best. Let me look at your previous... Would be interesting to see the best data science results from AI agents. Across stakeholders with a flexible and robust process. I don't know if you're going to be able to have comparisons though, Rex, because all results are relative, right? All results are local, right? Like if I'm a data scientist that spent a couple years working on this algorithm to save this cruise company a bunch of money on gas, that doesn't matter if you're a website analytics firm, right? Like they're going to be like, yeah, great. What does it mean for me, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Rex. Yeah, I don't... it just depends. It depends on the industry, the use case, the business, right? Because here's another thing we haven't really talked about, guys. And kind of surprising that nobody's brought this up, but it kind of relates to Rex's point here. So again, cruise ship company, they spend $1 billion. You go in there and save them 10%. They're happy. You could have saved them 12%, but you'll never know. Here's the thing. What if you save them 10% in a month's worth of development, a month's worth of work, versus 12% in 2 years worth of work? Because see, Rex, that's another thing that you'd have to think about as far as like best, right? What about speed? Speed counts, right? So if I can get you a good answer and I can get it to you in a short amount of time, then that company will be ecstatic instead of being sad that they missed out on the best answer, right? Because even if you could get to a better answer, better, best, good, better, best answer, you'd have to deduct the losses of the time, right? The losses that were incurred during that time. So that's another thing that we haven't really talked about. And also the article didn't really mention the speed to market is a big thing of AI. And I mentioned this to you guys before about how yes, LLMs can make mistakes, but if they can make mistakes faster than you, that's still a win. Right? Your managers, your supervisors, all those people will still see that as a win because time is a win, right? So what do you think about that, Rex? Right? Maybe we'll reach a point where nobody will really care about the numbers anymore. It's more about the speed. Like I don't have to be significantly better than my competitors as long as I can beat them to market, right? Because being first is also part of a marketing strategy, right? So that's another element I think you'd have to consider in your thought in the line of thought here, Rex, right? So Rex adds, I'm thinking of AI agents as part of the process employed by consultancy groups, and there are groups better than others. Yeah, but if I can be faster than you, then maybe I can beat you even though I'm not as good as you, right, Rex? Especially when you mention consultancies. Consultants usually charge by the hour. I mean, yes, there's project-based stuff. But what if I can tell you that I can help you and I'll help you at a tenth of the time that my competitor will? All of a sudden, I don't have to be so much better than my competitor, right? So what do you think about that, Rex? If I want to beat you outright, I have to be 100% better than you. But if I don't want to beat you outright, I just want to be faster than you, then I only have to be 5% better than you, right? RC Sim says, if the AI was super fast, it wouldn't make you slow anyways. You could use the tool as well or even better than your employer. Yeah, but I'm talking about the actual project development time though, RC Sim. Right? Like, I'm not exclusive in this. I'm sure you guys have had your experiences too, but I mean, I've gotten pages and pages of code in a couple of minutes worth of prompting. That code would have easily taken me a week to write. Right? So I'm talking just like the overall development of code. So as I've said before, in the past, maybe your boss would give you 4 weeks as a deadline. Well, now they're only going to give you 2 weeks. And maybe in the past, your group or your function produced 4 projects a year. Well, now they want 7 projects a year out of you, right? Because they know that project timelines overall are compressed, right? So I think that's more of the speed that I'm referring to there, RC Sim. Rex says, well, I guess best is subjective, so it's use case dependent. I think it is. It's local, right? It's a local measurement. And it's not always directly about the money side, right? It's also about the speed. I'm sure consultancy groups will have different prices for different bests. But what if they don't, Rex? What if they just keep the same pricing, but just do more projects in a year? That's a win too, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure PwC has measurements on how long each project engagement takes. Well, what if those projections are cut in half? You would take on more clients, right? So the time aspect, I think, has a lot of potential for wins that maybe aren't fully recognized right now. But then again, I guess it could also differ on the size of the consultancy group, right? Because there's consultancy groups of all sizes, right? So maybe that could also play an effect there. Really good discussion, guys. I love the different aspects that you're bringing into this, right? But yeah, you know, let's make sure we're also giving time its consideration, because when you think about how much faster these tools will allow you to work, then how many more projects could you develop? How much more revenue can your company now generate? Because now they're producing more, right? Does that make you any any better off? Are you better off, or are you less better off? I'm talking about that as an individual, you as a person, right? You could argue, well, there'd be a lot more projects to manage. Yes. But you're also a little bit less stressed, right? Because writing code itself is stressful. Well, you're no longer writing native code, right? So that's another consideration. How would you physically feel? Like, what is the future state of physical work, right? Or how you feel at work. Makuda says yes, since producing is a race. Yeah, absolutely, right? If you can, if you're a large company and you can compress your timelines, you compress your projects, you increase the number of projects you can take on, you're producing now at a much faster pace, and that is a race, right? So yeah. So think about if you can produce that, and if you kind of agree with that, then how much more powerful does that become if you're the first company in your industry to do it? The first state in your country to do it, the first country in your region to do it, right? Ties back to AJ and RC Sim's thoughts about, you know, does that have geopolitical implications? Yeah. Right? RC Sim says, assuming it's bug-free, the AI tool would be less stressful. That's an incorrect assumption for now and likely for several years at least, though. You had me at less stressful, you lost me at several years. I think it's less stressful too, right? Your mindset will change around what your roles are. Several years? I don't know, guys. And you know what? Those of you who watch this channel, you know I'm a naturally pessimistic person. I will gladly admit to that. But you know, I'm optimistic, guys. On this topic, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that within 2 years, it's gonna be, you know, like error-free to the 4 nines, right? Like we will be 4 nines error-free. I really do think that's coming within that time frame. So RC Sim, I don't know how you're defining several years. I mean, that usually means more than 3, you know, more than 4, right? So let me know. But I think 2 years, guys. I think 2 years. I was an early adopter of ChatGPT when they first came out. So I say that based a little bit on that, like what the code looked like then, and you know, stuff like that. You know, what OpenAI is doing in the background with their API access. I really like some of the stuff they're doing with that. But I think it's gonna be, you know, pretty dang good. You know, at least to the point where you don't have to stress about it, RC Sim. Because you're right, buggy code can produce stress. But I'm optimistic it won't be several years. I think it'll be, you know, 2, maybe 3 years. Rex says, man, I knew it. I should have gone into plumbing. Funny, Rex. Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right now, the physical work, right, is definitely the safest job, right? Or jobs. But yeah. RC Sim says, let's put November 22nd, 2026 on the calendar for AIs producing bug-free, stress-free code. Bug-free to the 4 nines. All right? I did say to the 4 nines. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, well, RC Sim, you tell us, what do you define as several years? You tell us what you think by several years. But I'm optimistic on this one, guys. I'm optimistic that, just knowing what I know about, the Gen AI development and the speeds and all that, I think it's going to be quick. I think it's going to be so quick. So quick. But let us know, RC Sim, if you want to define what you mean by several years, I think is what you said. Or, maybe somebody else wants to say, maybe you guys think it's even further out. Some people are saying, oh, it's 10 years away and all. I think that's clearly wrong, right? But I think it's going to be sooner. I really do. Wow, guys, we have gone for almost 2 hours. Do you know how much client work I have to do today? I can't afford to go 2 hours today. You guys are crazy. All right, guys, but last call for questions. But otherwise, I think we're reaching an end state here because I definitely have some client stuff I need to get out today. But really appreciate all the discussion. Really great viewpoints. I appreciate the different elements that you guys are bringing to these thoughts, right? This article is on the Discord if you guys want to, refer back to it. Also, this Sunday, we're going to continue our series. So I know we got a couple of new people, couple people looking for career changes and project ideas. Come Sundays, it's our longer tutorials. We had a great session last Sunday. Really enjoyed that session. I think a lot of you did too. This Sunday, we're going to do more of the same, but with a different model, with a little bit of a different approach, right? So really good session coming up. So yeah, please join us on Sundays, 1500 GMT. Okay. All right, guys. So let's wrap it up. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for making this discussion fun. I had a good time in today's discussions. Hope you guys did too. And as always, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in our world. So please, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.